Hi and welcome to Help Your Kids podcast. My name is Dr. Mish and I'm a psychotherapist, a coach, and I'm also a lecturer in child and adolescent mental health at a university, which is lots of fun. And my background is mental health, really. I've always been interested in how people are, and people have always fascinated me. So yeah, that's me. And this podcast is all about how you can help your kids, and my co-host and I do it from a position of being parents, but we're also therapists.
Yeah, so I'm Shelley Smith. I'm also a psychotherapist and supervisor and also visiting lecturer. And similar to Mish, my background is in mental health and wellbeing. Before I became a therapist, I just really enjoyed supporting people within education. So children, teenagers, adults, and 2018 I founded Sunrise Wellbeing, which is our hub of support for people of all different ages in Leicester. And it's just great to now develop our support services for parents and to have this Help Your Kids podcast, which we're really proud of.
Yeah. This is episode 7 of season 2.
Episode 7.
I know, I feel like we've done loads, really.
I know. It's really good.
Yeah. I'm
pleased.
always hopeful that it's actually helpful.
Yeah.
And we've seem to have had listeners from literally all over the world.
I know.
When we looked at some of the who's listening from where, that was so weird, wasn't it?
I know. Australia,
Yes.
America.
So hello.
Global.
We've gone global, baby.
So good, targeting more people.
Yeah, it's really
great.
good. It's really good, and hopefully
Yeah.
that will only continue. So if this podcast is useful to you, feel free to share it with someone. That's what I would suggest the best way, because I know I do that with my mates, and I love it when someone just boshes a podcast across and says, "Oh, listen to this, you'll really like it."
Yeah.
So if it is useful, then feel free to share it.
Yeah,
if it's not useful, then feel free to just call it something else.
Or not share it.
Or not share it. And never listen again. No, that's fine. So anyway, I digress. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Manosphere. This dreaded thing that people are very fearful of.
Yeah.
So specifically the Manosphere, boys, belonging, with a big dose of don't panic alongside that. So would it be helpful if I just remind you of the thing? So we had someone reach out who was starting to talk about self-worth with their son, but they noticed that their son was watching a lot of online content about the idea of being a man and success, what that might mean. And they were just worried about it all, really, which I understand, whether it's helping or harming.
Yeah.
And I think there's quite a lot around at the minute, growing concern around the Manosphere and what it's doing to our young males out there who are looking for deciding who they are and where they fit with the world.
That's a big thing, isn't it? Trying to work out where you belong, what your values are, where you fit.
Yeah. And as a parent, it's really worrying. You know, if your son starts talking to you about all these things, using certain bits of language that you're like, what's that about? Where's that come from?
And I think it's sometimes that change in behaviour or language that make you think, oh, what's that about?
Yeah.
And it is just being curious, isn't it, a lot of the time? But it is hard sometimes as a parent not to panic if you hear that word or you hear those, language that you're not used to them saying.
So I think recently there's been that Louis Theroux documentary. I mean, I suppose this depends on when you're listening to this, how recent that is.
Yeah. You could be listening into the future.
So there was a documentary that Louis Theroux did about the Manosphere. And there was also, before that, there was a really, it got so much conversation going, called Adolescence.
Yeah.
And they were both things that I think brought it into people's consciousness a bit more, started some conversations going.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about adolescence before.
We did.
So there's an episode that we've touched on about that before. But essentially, I thought might be quite useful is just to situate what the manosphere is, because people can hear it and then go, I get it, but I don't really get it. So essentially what the manosphere is it's like a network of online digital communities, and they tend to promote particular ideas around masculinity, about gender roles, gender relationships, status, power. And what often happens, I think, is particularly for young males, is that it's kind of like an entry point, really, of self-improvement. There's like self-improvement or dating advice, and then it morphs a little bit more into anti-feminist or misogynistic views and the ideas around status, dominance, and then it ends up morphing into that, I suppose.
I think so.
But I suppose for me, I see that the entry point can often be something really positive for young males who are looking for that advice and those tips. And
because they may have kind of got worries or anxieties over things that they want a bit of clarification on. So it is that having that awareness that you are curious and that you are maybe having those emotions, so you can reach out.
Yeah.
But it's where I suppose you've not got the people in real life to support you in finding those answers or to support you in finding yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're drawn to online means being the only way of connection.
Yeah, and it is really that sense of community, and I think that's one of the things, particularly as parents, we almost encourage our children to go and find their tribe.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to be that tribe.
Yeah.
Or a tribe where there's any views that are particularly concerning or linked to worrying behaviour or attitudes. So it's a really tricky thing.
It's really hard, isn't it? Because you want them to have a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose. And we know that's one of our human needs, isn't it? We need to have that with your tribe, with your team around you.
Yeah.
But you want that tribe and that community to be supporting you in a positive way, where it is aligned with your own values and what you enjoy and what you believe. But sometimes at that young age, you're not sure. Like we said, you're still trying to work out what your beliefs are, who you are.
Yeah, your place in the world.
Yeah.
And so I think it really taps into that developmental vulnerability around that.
Yeah. And building relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships in all different ways of just communication and dynamics.
Yeah, really hard. And I think there is still something around young males needing some sort of guidance around these things, and I don't think it's we all need it at some point, but there is something that perhaps speaks to young males needing that a little bit more. And then it also really ties into what we were talking about last time about that comparison culture that goes on. So there's a real peer evaluation. Are you man enough? Are you who are you going out with, that sort of thing. And then the sense of belonging as well. So it's just a really, really tricky thing.
It is really tricky, but it's huge, isn't it? If you think about day to day, what those young males are probably experiencing, comments from other people, criticisms, maybe joining in conversations where they're not sure if it feels right, but they feel pressure to. It can be really tricky.
Yeah. And what some of the research around it has said about what happens is why it's so potent is it validates experience of rejection or failure, and then also the manosphere provides some simple explanations of quite complicated social interactions. So it means that it's diluting how layered things are essentially, and because it's community led, again, it's very strong, it just speaks to all the vulnerabilities that someone might have. I've been rejected, I've failed at this thing, I can't understand it, and actually it's just because some of the views are that it's all women's fault, for example,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
just categorically it isn't.
Yeah. And if you haven't got those people around you who can kind of counterbalance that
Yeah.
with other evidence or different ways of being, then you are maybe left in that place of, well, this must be the truth then.
Yeah.
And that's where it can get even trickier.
Yeah. And also the people who are sharing these viewpoints are very powerful, persuasive voices.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go through the list of who they are. We all know the name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they need any more airtime, frankly.
No. Exactly.
But yeah, we know who they are. They're very strong in their message. They've obviously got their marketing spot on. They're targeting the right audience.
Yeah. But ultimately know how to target vulnerable people.
Yeah.
Which is often the case, isn't it? It's targeting vulnerable people who need that connection, and that may be the only connection that they've got at that time.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the problem, isn't it? That if people, particularly young boys, are withdrawing into that world, that's when it starts being problematic.
And the thing to remember also, those people in that kind of status of power who are giving that message, they'll have their own vulnerabilities and anxieties and all of that.
I mean,
but they won't be broadcasting that, will they?
Absolutely not. I think that's one of the really funny things. If not only as a parent but as a therapist, whenever you're watching anything that is telling the story of these people, you pull out the vulnerabilities.
You do.
Like, well, that speaks to a certain vulnerability in that area, or you start wondering, don't you? I kind of go, I wonder what's happened to someone
always
for them to have such rigid views.
Yeah.
But in terms of the social impact, again, there's a bit of research around that, because what happens in society is that there becomes a more the endorsement of those really rigid gender roles. So that's one of the things that seems to come out a lot. There's a lot of reduced empathy and connection with women, and you know, we sit here as two women, and I have a son, and I'd hate for there to be a lack of respect or connection. You know, it can really affect those relationships. So that would be really, really tricky.
And I think for some young males who are kind of being exposed to those things, they've almost got to force themselves to believe it, to be a part of it. So even if their gut's going, actually, I don't believe this because I do see women in this way rather than what I'm being told to see them in, they've got to fight that conflict.
Yes.
Haven't you? And if you're already feeling vulnerable and like that is meeting a need in you in some way to connect with that, that's very hard.
Yeah. So even if you have got essentially a good relationship, you may be hearing things that are worrying to you. And so that it can put you as a parent in a really tricky position of going, well, where have you got that view from? Why are you now suddenly believing this when you've never said anything like that before?
And having those conversations again, if you can feel comfortable enough to say, well, I'm recognising you saying that word. I've not heard you say that word before. Oh, you were talking about so-and-so. Is there been a change there then? Because they seem to be behaving in a different way. They're talking about different things in different ways. How's that impacting you? Recognising that change in your friends or what they're saying, what they're believing. What do you think about that?
And I suppose as parents, we worry that if like where is that information coming from and who are they sharing it with? And that's the thing about these community-led problematic platforms is that it does get shared. So it might be worth having conversations about who sends these things to you, or are you sharing these things? Do you actually believe it?
And even recognising, I'm thinking like at lunchtime, break time, you know, what conversations people are having.
It doesn't make for a very safe feeling world.
No.
For anyone, really.
No. And we we kind of develop the beliefs about ourselves through the world, don't we? And through what the world shows us and the messages from people. So if that doesn't feel very safe, you probably are going to feel a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, that's one of the worries that I see that parents have, is this, it's almost like discouraging vulnerability. And particularly for young, either young men or male young people, what we know about the statistics around adult males and risk of suicide, we need to encourage vulnerability, not discourage it.
Absolutely.
So it really sits in that worries. We know what can get going out there. We know that suicide is a massive, massive killer of young
It's huge.
of males.
Yeah.
So anything in my mind, speaking both parent and therapist here, that if there's something that means that a male in my life is going to be less vulnerable, I feel like that goes against everything I would want them to be. I'd want them to...
You want them to be able to share their vulnerability, don't you? You want them to be able to share their feelings, or to say, I'm really worried about this, or I'm not sure about this. I feel like I should be like this and I'm not.
Yeah, and that goes back to that comparison culture, doesn't it? Because
of course.
In a way, if the community is saying, don't be vulnerable, then that will only reinforce isolation.
Yeah.
And then we know what isolation leads to. Now, I say this knowing full well I'm going, don't panic as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of this where I'm going, as parents, do we need to panic? No, I don't actually think so, unless it gets getting to a certain point of that being truly embodied by that person. If they're curious about it, wanting to discuss ideas, some of the narratives that they hear, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If you see someone becoming increasingly isolated, less vulnerable, they can't express their emotions, they should be doing this, should be doing that, the world is set up in this way, or women do this. I think I might be more worried.
You are naturally going to be more worried, because it's, again, that change in behaviour, isn't it? And the change of the person. And being at the curious stage, that's where you can have these conversations. But maybe if they've worked out their own truth because they haven't been able to be curious, that's where maybe it goes a bit down a different path. So we don't want people to be scared and panic at the word, or if things are, being told or language is being used. You want to be curious, but at the same time, you just want to monitor it, don't you? Want to observe the changes and to keep those conversations going. And like with anything related to mental health or well-being, it's just recognising those signs, isn't it, of where there are those big changes that are consistent.
Yeah, I can understand some of the worry around it, though.
Yeah.
It does make sense. One of the things that I find really interesting about the Manosphere, and I thought I'd share this because it just made me chuckle, is that the idea around, there's a whole thing around red pill, blue pill, one opening up your eyes to what's happening in the world, one where you stay in your slumber, essentially. And where that comes from is they've kind of taken an idea from the 90s film called The Matrix, which is an awesome film, by the way. And what I think is really funny about a community that promotes certain narratives around masculinity and gender roles and status and power and et cetera, is that very idea of blue pill, red pill came from the writers of the ideas around The Matrix. And those writers are transgender women. So I find that whole thing that makes me laugh, as even just a challenge. Like, so if you're saying that as this is a fundamental idea that you now believe, do you even know where that idea actually originates from?
And now you know where it comes from. How do you feel about it?
Indeed.
And how does that change your view?
Yeah. Does that mean that that the concept of that isn't valid now?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's really
Yeah,
interesting. I
it's
just
really
like to throw that
interesting.
in because I think it's
It's good to share that though, because that's good to be aware, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not sure everyone knows that.
No.
And I only knew that because I was listening to, weirdly, a podcast. Anyone would think I quite like podcasts. A podcast around the Manosphere. And as a fact, it's really stuck out in my head. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had a look at that being factual.
Yeah.
And and I just think that's absolutely brilliant. So it does make me chuckle. But of course, what we want to give you is a few tips around this. And for me, I suppose my tip around even addressing the conversation, if you hear any phrases around manosphere and blue pill, red pill, and women are this, or any kind
Gender
of views,
roles.
any gender, any rigid gender roles, I would have an open dialogue. I'd be curious. Remain in that curious position.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Help me understand.
Yeah.
So come at it as a I don't know what your position is on this, rather than a I need to shut this down. Don't say those things. They are wrong.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about labeling it as wrong, even if you think it is wrong.
Yeah.
It's about opening up a dialogue. What are your thoughts around it?
I think it reminds me of when we were talking about adolescence. And it is about opening up those conversations to have those curious questions. But like you said, not going, this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, how dare you? Because then often what happens is the young person will shut down, not want to talk to you about anything. Then you're going to increase that isolation and withdrawal. So you want to be creating a space. And sometimes just having those little sentence starters in your toolkit. I'm just wondering, I'm just curious, I've recognised, I'm noticing. Just having those sentence starters so that you're not kind of being controlling or coming down and saying you shouldn't do this, but you're just being interested.
Yeah.
And wanting to understand it from their perspective.
Yes, that's the thing, isn't it? So, so what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Can we have a discussion about that?
Yeah. And I know before we were saying with adolescents, sometimes not having all the answers. So saying, I've heard about this, but I'm not sure. Can you explain it to me? Have you heard about it? And they might or they might not have, but you're bringing that into the space.
Yeah. So I would just keep the discussion open. The moment we shut down something, particularly, and I suppose I'm speaking primarily here to females out there who might react in a certain way, and they're hearing very rigid views. It can make us bristle and go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
But actually, it's about being able to suspend that. You can still have a reaction, but be curious. If your child is coming home and saying, Mum, you should be doing this, or I've heard this, or then be curious.
Yeah.
Open up the discussion. Don't shut it down.
Yeah, don't shut it down. And also if there's a word that's being used that you have an understanding of, but you feel their understanding of that word is different, clarify.
Yeah.
This is my understanding. What do you think it means? Is it something different to me?
Yeah.
Where have you heard it?
Yeah. So always have the discussion.
Yeah,
even if
absolutely.
you don't agree. And this is one of the things, particularly if you've got a child who is off a teenage developmental stage, where they might be more forthright with their ideas, more rigid. Particularly young males will look outside of the home for those role models.
Yeah.
Even if they're coming at it in quite a problematic viewpoint, still have the conversation.
Yeah.
And
still have the
encourage,
conversation.
because if they can see that you're able to do that, then they might be quite open to looking at it in a little bit more critically, with a little bit of a different eye.
And thinking about the models that they have in their life, who are their role models.
Yeah.
And thinking about their team as a whole. Is there anyone else that can come a bit closer on the team that is a good role model?
Yeah.
That can support that kind of being curious over what people's thoughts and feelings are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good luck with that. I think that one's a really difficult one.
It is. There's so much conflict. And as we've been talking, you can see both sides, can't you?
Yeah.
So I think it's just taking from this what you can, giving yourself time to process your own thoughts, feelings, having those questions. But like we always say, just breathing, taking a moment.
Yeah.
before we may jump in.
Yeah,
that
and
emotional
the not
response.
panicking bit.
Yeah.
That can be a really important part of challenging and exploring any views that don't align with what you'd hope.
Definitely.
So yeah, good luck with that one, everyone. Not an easy one.
No.
Talking of things that aren't easy, I just wanted to draw our attention to, again, something that has been commented on, which I think will be really ties into next time. So this one is a comment around someone feeling exhausted, essentially. They're trying to have these conversations. We encourage curiosity. And they're like, I'm trying to do all of that, but actually I'm just exhausted because I feel like I'm getting it all wrong and just running on empty. And I said that as a phrase, I'm running on empty. So I really appreciate that things can feel really difficult.
Yeah.
So what we're going to focus on to try and provide a little bit of insight onto this subject is the idea around parental exhaustion, parental burnout.
It's getting more. Thing is, you hear about it more and more, don't you?
Yeah.
And as parents, therapists, practitioners, you feel that compassion fatigue, can't you?
Yeah.
So it is something that, I know we're really passionate about raising awareness of, because we have to listen to those signs.
Yeah. So we're going to hopefully cover this in a bit more depth next time. But yeah, for now, that's us done.
That's us done. Please let us know if you've got any questions.
Yes. And if you've got a comment that you do want to share, or just something that you think would be really useful for us to go into a bit more detail, and you think, I'll just fling that comment their way.
Yeah, always let us know.
Yeah. So I think we can accept comments on our Instagram posts, and TikTok posts, but also email. We'll make sure that that's all in the show notes. Megan, our wonderful producer, I feel like she's had a shout out every single
it's standard
episode. So we'll make sure that's all there. So if you do want to send us a comment that you think we could actually turn something into an episode,
definitely.
We'd love to start taking your ideas for season 3 that we're hoping to launch at some point. So get your comments in, and we'll take it from there. But for now, we'll see you to talk about burnout and exhaustion next time.
And for now, we'll have a cup of tea.
Indeed. See ya.
See you.